This is the Theme Park Loopy podcast.
Do you think that Blackpool Pleasure Beach should offer free entry into the park?
You know what? I'm undecided because during peak hours, like when you go in the middle of summer and it's really hot and everyone's out in the park, it's really busy, and that's with the pricing, that's with the gate entry, yada yada. And I imagine that the decision to stop free entry was probably based on future predictions of what attendance numbers would be and what the capacity of the park would enable them to do, alongside quite a lot of other things. So maybe it shouldn't be as black and white as it should be free or it shouldn't be free. Maybe they should have during non-peak times of the year where gate attendance quite low. Maybe it could be very cheap to gain entry or free to gain entry. But the problem is that then you're going to have to pay per ride and check everyone, which then has different attendance. Like you'd have to probably get more people to man rides, expenses would go up, and it might extend queue lines. So I don't know. I'm torn on it. I think it seems a shame that like we've gone just before it's closed for the year a number of times. The park is empty, or it feels really low in attendance. And sometimes on the last day we'll do some other things. We'll head up the pier and find other things to do because we're not going to go into the park for half a day before we go home. But otherwise we would have gone in and we would have spent some money. So I don't know. I'm open to dialogue on this one. I'm not particularly. I've not got a strong view either way. I do imagine that if you're a local though, or you go a lot, you probably would have a really strong opinion. And I know that my wife, when she used to go as a kid, it was free to get in, and she's still annoyed that there's, it's pay to enter. So I guess there's a strong element of what it was back in the day and what you remember it being probably influences a lot of people's minds on the issue.
Yeah, I think. I mean, sort of like your partner. I grew up going to Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I remember having a letter sent home from school when I was in year 5 or 6, saying that I'd had too many days off. And that's because my mum and dad would take us to Blackpool Pleasure Beach every single weekend, including a Friday or a Monday. And it would be like a 3-day thing. I ended up having like 30 unauthorized days off school. I remember that letter. And that's because we go to Blackpool with weekends, and it was brilliant.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Monday is not a weekend, kids. Just so you know.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, sorry. But they, so we used to go all the time. So unlike the likes of Alton Towers, I actually only went to Alton Towers in 2008 for the first time, which is ridiculous. I know. So I have far more fond memories of Blackpool Pleasure Beach as a kid. So back then it was free to enter and you got a wristband. Now, this is where I am utterly baffled by, okay, fine. If you think it's a good enough business decision, I am not a theme park business advisor. At no point in time could I make a better idea of what's best for Blackpool Pleasure Beach than I assume the management does, even though they run most of it on Twitter. But I had to get in. So, they Dan's just smirking now. So yeah, this is the thing that I really don't understand is they made the decision to make sure that every single person pays £35 to £50 to enter into the park, and I still have to carry my phone around with me, even though I'm about 30 seconds from getting on Icon with a QR code, which I'd have to save as my lock screen, probably just to make it slightly easier for me. And I'd have to scan it to get on the ride, like I had a wristband. In fact, you can still get a wristband or a printed ticket. So why? Because all of us have paid the same price to be here. So at that point, why are these turnstiles? And it's not a case of going, oh, well, the turnstiles have always been there since 1994 when we put them on the big one. Well, they built one on Icon. That's been built since the park has not had. So what I'm baffled by is the decision to allow everyone to come in as a paid guest, but then still have to scan your ticket every time you go on a ride. That is just absolutely baffling to me. So because of this and the fact that they have built them on even rides that have been built since they stopped doing the free entry, that means that they could, like that, snap right back to free entry into the park. You buy a separate wristband to get on the rides, and it would change nothing.